First of all, thank you very much for giving me this platform and the opportunity to speak to you, to your audience. Feels like a fantastic privilege and an opportunity to really reach out to people that have interest in food systems, which is something that unconsciously I've spent probably 20 years of my career, and consciously now the past 5, 6, 7 years are getting really into the grind, trying to understand as to what can be done in order to bring something much more positive about than what we currently have. So on that note, probably it's worthwhile kind of explaining the two sort of activities that we do that are probably a little bit more consumer centric and focused. One is the Nutritional Paradox, which is our sort of non-for-profit initiative. It is our open source platform, whereby we share as to how we experience and we see the agri-food world on a global basis, with all the, let me say, devastating data points that we hear every now and so often. And we have also gone into kind of thinking things through as to how a future could look like if one would start developing something that is probably a little bit more refreshed and anew. So that is our open source, our non-for-profit sort of an activity. And then we have our hardcore commercial company that essentially is called WhatIf Foods. We are a new kid on the block. And what we actually try to do is WhatIf Foods aims to actually take on the nutritional paradox. And essentially what we preach on the one side is what we execute and action up on the other side. And in short, it is all about what we call 360 sustenance, which stands for our strive to identify crops that are beneficial for human consumption, meaning that they actually mean an aid towards a diversified diet in today's day and age. But these crops need to grow on degraded arable land in challenged soils, poor soils. The reason is, and I probably can speak about those in a few minutes, but we have plenty of land banks available to us that are not productive anymore. And by doing so, we hit a number of smallholder farming communities, make them stronger, much more resilient, and bring them back into a meaningful livelihood. That's what we call 360 sustenance. And in order to actually live up to that promise, one has to actually put a number of research work and development into the system, because as you know, over the past 150 years, all our industries have focused on these few crops and have specialized only on efficiencies. And probably even the smallest chain in supply chain today, for a wheat miller, for example, is already a challenge. So therefore, one cannot assume that on large scale, you can actually make use of these wonderful crops that are out there. So in short, that is what we're doing. That's what brings us to the office, pre and hopefully post-COVID, on a daily basis.